All right, hi everyone. My name's Ashley Thornton. I'm with Open Hearth. We're going to be talking about our Seed and Scale initiative. But for anyone who doesn't know Open Hearth, our focus has always been housing, transportation, financial management, and community building. When I started with Open Hearth in 2012, we had a program called the Jumpstart Program. So I don't know if anyone remembers that, but it was in a consortium. So there were different entities that were involved. We partnered to make sure that the program could run. And essentially what it was a zero interest car loan program, but also a car donation program. And then just over the years, different staff left the other organizations. Things unfortunately just dwindled and essentially the program stopped. So I know someone else talked about their strategic plan. So when we did a strategic plan in the last 5 years, we were really focused on getting a transportation program back on the map. So anyone who's familiar with Open Hearth and you think of transportation, you probably think of what Dawn and Nick were talking about as far as our IDA matched savings program. And we've had that and it's successful, but we wanted to do more. If you think of the Financial Stability Center that's in Exton, if someone were starting out in Phoenixville and trying to get there, it took hours. So there's more problems than just car donation and car repair. We were trying to figure out what can we do to make a difference. And when it fell off the map, it's really the program we wanted to bring back. And that's what Seed and Scale allowed us to do. Open Hearth has been around since 1989. And again, we wanted to make sure that we're really filling a gap with transportation. So I'm going to hand it off to Brad to kick it off. The program is called our Jumpstart program.
And like Ashley just said, we are focusing the Seed and Scale funding primarily for a transportation program for the Coatesville residents here. And there's a word that's been thrown around a lot lately today. We all have this in common is empowering, which is like, you can't feel that, it's not tangible, you don't know what that is. But people getting denied a lot for loans in general because of their history and their credit score and just not being transparent enough because they don't know if they're going to be eligible for those programs. That is a barrier that our leadership has determined was something we want to overcome and help our participants become empowered with. So it is a zero interest loan that we are offering to people within a specific demographic. So 300% is pretty high. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't eligible for like LIHEAP and things because they're making too much, and there is that cliff effect that we have. So this does help a lot of people that are trying to drive to their job that might be 30 miles away or whatever, and they have unreliable vehicles and they just don't have the capital or the means to make that repair to their car, and they have inspections are coming up. So that's where this program does come in handy, and it's just really helpful to our Chester County in general. It is people who are having a quote or something, they know they have to get tires repaired, brakes repaired, they just need to have reliable transportation. They have kiddos, they got to take to school, they got to get the job, they can't miss their job, or they have a job interview that's going on, they have an unreliable car. This program is really helpful for those people to become empowered again and not be told no again. But the loan is up to $1,000. I think I might be talking about that in the next slide here. But we do a lot like North Star and Home to Spare. We'll do a budget with your customers. That's what we do too. We have to figure out a way to we are going to give them a loan, but they have to pay it back as well, because it is a loan that is going to be needed by other people too. So we want them to pay it back and be able to it not be a financial burden to them as well, because if they can't afford to pay back a $1,000 loan within a year, there are some things that be like, okay, is this really feasible for you? However, it does, when they pay it back, it does give the opportunity for another family or another person to be able to get this loan as well in the future. So it was a wonderful self-fulfilling kind of program itself, just getting it through. So far, we've got 3 loans issued. We have probably, if everything goes smoothly, next week we should have another 2 going out, and that will come down around $3,400. We'll have loaned out to our participants that are doing it. I mentioned it before, loans are getting repaid back. This is recycling back into this program. So it is something that we can continue to give to our participants and whatnot. And I have been finding when I'm discussing with these people, they don't ever hear 0% interest, or they have been burned by their car repair places before, or their car payments before, because they have high interest loans they have to pay back on their cars, on you name it. It doesn't even matter, even on their phones, they have to pay these back too. So this hearing that we're giving them $1,000 and they're paying back $1,000 is typically unheard for a lot of our participants. So they are very thankful and very willing to pay back this program, and very excited for this opportunity and wanting to do it again. I already have somebody ask me, can I do this once I pay off, and like I might have another repair that needs to get done to my car. Absolutely. The idea is, though, we want these cars to be roadworthy when they're done. So $1,000 doesn't really carry, like, you're not going to fix an entire busted up car, but it does help get a lot of those parts that you don't want to pay for taken care of. And also they are working with financial navigators with us, so we are helping them with a budget as well, whether or not they can save up to pay for the front end costs if it happens before we issue the loan. Yeah, please.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to add is we don't have any shops that folks are mandated to use. So you can choose exactly which car shop that you want to go to, as long as it's a true business. So if someone says, oh, my uncle fixes cars, that's great. We can only work with them if the uncle is a legitimate business. But we don't make it strict, so we try to keep it all of Chester County so they can go wherever they want. We obviously started serving the Coatesville area, but since Seed and Scale started, we've actually acquired new funding so we can serve all of Chester County, and that's why I say that, because we let folks choose whichever repair shop is closest to them. So we've seen at least 2 loans come to us that were well over $1,000, but at the end of the day, when Brad would do the budget, also Brad solely facilitates this program. So he also facilitates this emergency match savings program. That's the example. So folks were coming in. I think our first was about $1,400, and then one just came in this past week. They're well over $1,000. But we can see with the budget, they can't afford the monthly amount. So we try to be strategic. We want to make sure that these folks can stay going to work, keep their cars on the road, get their children to school, get to medical appointments. So we were lucky enough a couple years ago to be a part of a pilot program through the United Way of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey. It's called the Emergency Match Savings Program. We are in our final pilot, but we're still very happy to have it, because what it essentially does is it doesn't have as many rules. So if you think about our IDA program, you have to either save for education, home ownership, or car purchase. Emergency savings can mean anything, and we are not held responsible to know what the people do with their money. We would love if people save for emergencies, but they can use the money however they want. So what we've done is, when we see folks who can't afford a loan, but they need every repair done within that estimate, is we've doubled up with the emergency savings match. So someone can save $200, they get matched with $800, that gives them $1,000. So what they've been doing, and our second one is gonna be coming through, is they throw that $1,000 immediately to their loan, which gives them maybe just a few $100s
Exactly.
to then have to take out on a loan. We're not sure if this program's gonna stay. We'll probably find out in the next 3 months, but it's been a saving grace for the time being to make sure that we don't have to have those hard conversations. They're gonna happen, but we're lucky enough that Brad really understands how to help people walk through the estimate, understand what's necessary, what's crucial, what to prioritize. But we just wanted to point that out, that the first time it came down, we were like, oh, how many times are we gonna see these repairs be significant? And like he said, we could approve someone for the higher than our threshold of 1,000, but we're not gonna do it if it means that someone's now gonna start paying other necessities late. So we did want to put a testimonial on here because that's what really matters, right? I'm just going to read the. So this is a woman who she was one of my first customers. So I started with Open Hearth in 2012. And I worked with her when she was currently residing in domestic violence housing in their phase 4 housing. And I worked with her for a really long time with budgeting. She ended up, I believe she was actually a North Star participant, we'll have to talk after. She ended up buying her first home through Habitat, so she is just wonderful, she's very committed, she's very engaged. She also was our very first participant to take out a loan. So she said, thank you to Jumpstart for giving me the financial support I needed during this difficult time. Things were really hard due to some medical and financial setbacks these past couple of months. Your loan has enabled me to bounce back without creating an additional hardship, which is exactly what we want, for me and my family. When you have no family or savings to depend on, just one major car issue can have a domino effect on everything else financially and emotionally in your life. This loan gave me the peace of mind knowing that my car can be fixed and safe for me and my family to drive, and being able to pay it back over a period of time allows me to maintain my other bills at the same time. And to wrap up, so what comes next, what are we focused on? So pretty much just a lot what you guys were saying. So it's all about building partnerships, it's all about getting the word out. We did everything in a very tiered manner. So we made sure that we first did a soft rollout for our internal programs, and then also some of our partnerships that we have the most tenure, the strongest partnerships. So you can see some of them are in this room. North Star, Home of the Sparrow. We also work closely with Bridge of Hope and the Gordon Early Literacy Center here in Coatesville. Then we started moving a little bit more when we were figuring out, okay, what did that rollout look like? Did we get a rush? Did we not? We didn't. So we rolled it out again. So a few other more people here, CYWA, Life Transforming Ministries. We actually got our very first referral from Good Samaritan Services this week, so that was exciting. MCHC. And then we wanted to really filter down and make sure that our seed and scale partners had access and knew about exactly what we did. So that included us having to do a little bit of research and making sure we knew, what some of you guys did that maybe we weren't as familiar with. So that is Jumpstart in a nutshell. So your takeaway is that it's a zero interest repair loan for vehicles, 300% of the federal poverty limit, and anyone in Chester County.